Here we go. The Down and Dirty Rewilding report for the week of October 7th. So let's talk big themes. Let's talk the loud archetypes, and then let's talk practices on how we can work with some of this stuff. So big themes, relationships still hot. We're in Libra season. We just came out of a relationship eclipse. We're still in that eclipse. So relationships are hot. Next thing, revelations about your path forward. Really, really loud. Seeing a new trajectory, seeing a new path, seeing a new direction. You want to think like all the different areas of your life. So maybe a new direction in work, maybe a new direction in home, maybe a new direction in your relationship, maybe a new direction on your spiritual path, maybe a new direction with your health. So we want to be open to that happening this week. Next theme that we need to talk about is some deep shadow work. Deep healing, deep shadow work. It's here, it's alive. Pluto is stationing this week. That just makes like the underground shadow worker come to life even more. We're still feeling the ripple effects of that South Node. South Node is very karmic territory. It's very shadow territory. We're still feeling that. And we have Chiron all over the place, getting lit up by Jupiter, getting into a quincunx, right? Like there's some real Chironic energy going on. So healing, and I do want to say specifically, some of us are really going to be up against the wall with some masculine healing. Like healing some of toxic masculine patterns, like abandonment, betrayal, belief systems around the feminine, value around the masculine, the provider in the masculine being challenged, the protector being challenged, the warrior in the masculine being challenged, all really to invite the masculine inner world in all of us, right? To up level, to like clean it up, to evolve. Also, let me just feel we've got some big stuff around Venus happening, like Venus, goddess of love. She's trine Mars at the start of the week. Then she goes into a quincunx. And so Venus as the outlet, she goes into a finger of God, actually. So a finger of God, and it's like that's the release point is Venus. So it's like these two energies pointing at Venus, pointing at Venus, pointing at Venus. And so that feminine aspect in us, we also have Juno on the sun at the start of the week. That's goddess of marriage. It's goddess of long-term commitment. So this is also pointing at the feminine, the feminine aspect. Let me feel for some words around this, like, I'll say it like this because this is just what's sort of coming to me is the feminine really needing to drop deeper into her heart. The feminine in all of us really needing to go into what can feel like a more vulnerable place, a softer place, a less armored place. That's going to be really tough when we have toxic masculine flying around. We've got Chiron healing happening, like deep shadow work stuff going on still, and we got Pluto going retrograde. But really one of the keys is the feminine coming into the depth of truth in her own heart without the armoring, without the defenses, like lay down the sword, right? Really drop into truth and reveal from that deep heart, like reveal to the world, to your partner, to your friends, to yourself, reveal what it is that depth of your feminine heart is really pointing to, because there's some real wisdom there this week. There's some real wisdom there this week, and can actually, like, you know how they say like love is the most healing force on the planet, what love can do. There were words this weekend in ReWilding retreat, and it was love will find a way. Let love show the way. Love will find a way through this. Love conquers all. You know, it's like those sort of words. It's going to be hard to get to, though. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's going to be fucking hard to get to. We're still post-eclipse. So many of us feel like rattled, shaken. Oh my God, I don't know where this is going. And then we're going to be seeing in ourselves this masculine really, really being challenged, really being challenged to up level and to grow. But that feminine in us can really help. It's like the feminine in us comes in to like soothe the weary warrior. And just feel that for yourself. Like you don't even have to put that outside of yourself, although for sure it's going to show up in our relationships this week. For sure it's going to show up in our outside world. But feel into like the weary warrior, like the weary warrior. He's like got his defenses up still, and like a crack happens over here, and he like pulls up his sword, and you're just like, hey. And that's in all of us. Like this eclipse really rocked some internal systems in us, really rocked them with Black Moon Lilith on that sun, that new moon eclipse that just happened on October 7th. I mean, y'all, this was a lot of deep stuff going on that we are barely cognizing the amount of purification happening, the amount of detoxing, the amount of releasing karma. All right. So let's see where we can flow to from here. I'm just feeling into like what most serves. I think the thing that also really serves this week, and something very benevolent and very grace-filled, is that Jupiter is loud. So Venus and Jupiter are considered the benefics, right? They're considered like the love, the easier energies to work with, the more grace-filled. And there's this flow of energy that they really open up in all of us. And so we kind of talked about the Venusian part for this week, but Jupiter is stationing retrograde this week. That means he's louder. So there's more grace, there's more expansiveness. Jupiter on Tuesday is, I just want to make sure that I get this right, is trine Mercury. So Wednesday he stations retrograde, but all week he's loud. So just translate that in your mind as there's more grace, there's more expandedness, there's more, when he's trine Mercury on Tuesday, there's more thinking outside the box. Just feel into that. Thinking outside the box. It's like the grace is coming into the mind. That's Mercury, the mind. Messenger of the gods. The grace is coming into the mind to give us a way of thinking about our path forward. And I'm saying path forward because we're still in this eclipse, just post that new moon eclipse on the 2nd. So trajectories and timelines shifted. Whether we're conscious of them or we're aware of them or not, they've shifted, right? That was one of the big themes to feel into, is it's like the tectonic plates beneath us have shifted. And this week is the start to seeing what is the shift in trajectory? What is the shift in timeline? What is the shift in your path forward? And again, thinking about the different areas of your life and really getting reflective about it. I think this is a really good week to spend time in reflection, to spend time, maybe it's like stream of consciousness writing. Maybe you're like a walking meditator. I'm such a walking meditator. Like everything pours in when I'm like walking. I'm just walking and thinking. I'm walking and reflecting. I'm walking and just being open to the thoughts coming in, letting Mercury, messenger of the gods, translate. This is such a good, powerful week. Up until, I would say, the weekend. The weekend, things get a little bit interesting. So I would say like Monday through, let me just see here. Friday's going to be good for this too, because Mercury is at a quincunx with Uranus and Neptune. Friday's going to be a little more challenging. So I would say like Monday through Thursday, really good for this reflective stuff. Come Friday, it can be real out there ideas, right? Like really new ideas. You want to think Neptune and Uranus with the mind, they're in a finger of God, right? So they're pointing, it's finger of God, which is like fated finger of God, but the energetics of Uranus and Neptune, which is real out there thinking, real new age thinking. That's Uranus. And then real dissolving of current thought forms. That's Neptune, right? Mystical thinking. So you got mystical mind and you have like pioneering into radical newness, both aiming at Mercury on Friday. So the mind might kind of shit itself on Friday, or it might come up with solutions to problems that you had no idea. You might be seeing the world, thinking about things from like real high mystical levels, from like bird's eye view. there can be some real powerful breakthroughs happening on Friday. Or there can be some real ungroundedness, right? Depends on, just what our relationship uniquely and personally is to those two different types of energies, because they're both going to be blasting the mind on Friday. Okay, but up until then, really good to reflect on your trajectory forward, your path forward, just post this new moon eclipse that happened on the 2nd. Okay, so let's then talk a little bit more. Let's talk a little bit more about this Chiron piece. I think this will serve. I'm not going to talk too long here, but I think this Chiron piece will really serve. How does it serve? Let me think about this. Chiron is, he's going to reveal to us our deeper wounds. They could be childhood wounds, they could be father wounds, they could be wounding to do with our innate, how do I want to say this? Our wounding to do with our beingness in the world. So it's like I'm not getting these words super right or doing this justice, but it's like the wounding, gosh, it's such a physical, tangible wounding that Chiron's kind of bringing up in this moment, right? So I think I'll leave it at that. I think it's a little bit still too out there, too nebulous for me to maybe pull in much more than that. I do think come the weekend though, so Saturday and Sunday, we have Jupiter sextile Chiron. That's that grace bombing, right? It's the grace bombing, but it's grace right at the wounded healer. So if you were to think about Chiron and you would think about the wounded healer, I think the reason I'm having such a hard time talking about Chiron in this moment is because it's so unconscious. It's so deeply buried. It's so hidden in the shadow. It's a very powerful aspect to work with, but very hard for me to get us to in a week ahead astrology conversation, right? This is like, you want to shamanically journey into your Chiron, right? You want to somatically journey into your Chiron. You want to do embodied astrology, embodied archetypal practices to get into your Chiron. This is deepening in to places within self. So maybe you can kind of feel that territory. That mixed with Hecate on the south node, there's just a lot of deep stuff happening. Still in the underworld, still in the undercurrent, still in that south node past life territory. And they're working this week. So just know that that's happening. And you may feel called to medicine journeys. You may feel called to shamanic journeys. You may feel called to however it is that you access those deeper parts of self, because there's a lot that can happen there this week, a lot of healing, a lot of shifting, a lot of letting go that can happen this week. So just know that's kind of happening in the undercurrents. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. And then I do want to say on Sunday, remember we were talking about this Chiron piece, there's a T square, Mars, Sun, Chiron. There's also Pluto square Mercury. Mars, Sun, Chiron, all masculine. Pluto, masculine. Square Mercury, Mercury, messenger of the gods. I mean, those are challenging aspects. A T square, right? That's just challenging. This is where I'm saying a lot of the wounded masculine is going to be revealing itself. The sun being up in the mix, that's it becoming conscious. We're going to see more toxic masculine patterns. We're going to see, I don't know how this is going to show up. I don't know how it's going to show up in the world. I don't know how it's going to show up for each of us, but it's going to be revealed more and more on Sunday. So even that deep hidden Chironic stuff, right, that I was saying it can be hard to get into, my sense is that some of it's going to bubble up. Some of it's going to bubble up for us to see in the physical, or we're going to play it out. We're going to play it out with other people in an effort, right? In an effort to evolve into a higher expression of the masculine in all of us, moving more from toxic warrior to Shaolin heart aligned warrior. It's kind of like that. So there's a lot going on this weekend around that. Let me see. I just want to quickly look at my notes for anything else. I do want to say that on Thursday, remember we talked about this finger of God on Friday, right? The finger of God pointing toward Mercury, right? Neptune and Uranus pointing toward Mercury. On Thursday, there's a finger of God pointing toward Venus. Isn't that fun? Yeah. And we talked about that Venusian energy. So that Venusian energy, that finger of God pointing toward Venus is with Chiron, right? The wounded healer, and Jupiter, right? So Jupiter, grace, Chiron, wounded healer, like that deeper aspect, can really show some of those masculine wounds, some of those medicine man wounds, but also just feeling into the medicine man wounds and the gifts in there. Like there's gifts in there. There's a lot of magic to be revealed there, right? There's a lot of magic to be revealed beneath the wounding. Beneath the wounding, there's a lot of magic to be revealed. That's just like that South Node territory, that South Node eclipse that we were just on, and this, Medusa and Hecate dancing on the South Node still. There's a lot of magic to be revealed there. Underneath the wounds, underneath the pain, underneath the hurt. There's a lot of magic. There's a lot of wisdom there. There's a ton. And so that's the journey, is revealing that, revealing that, revealing that. And with Venus being at the apex of that finger of God, right? She's like the antidote to it, like Venusian energy, that feminine love that I spoke about. And if you're like, wait, what? Go back to that heart thing that I mentioned earlier in the video, right? Deepening in, coming from that, it's like, you could think about almost like sacred prostitute, right? High level sacred prostitute, like get out of this like low level. I say prostitute and we just all like, holy whore, and we just grab onto like prostitute whore. We like dive into the gutter, but it's like, and it doesn't even have to be a sexual expression, but it's like, may grace, may the highest voltage grace pour through my feminine. May the highest voltage grace pour through my heart. May the high, and I'm pouring that on to the weary warrior. I'm pouring that on to the wounded masculine. I'm pouring that on. It's going to be tough because some of us are going to be so pissed off about it. This is not what we want to be doing for ourselves, for others, for our relationship, for the world. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of magic in that this week. A lot of magic in that this week. If you want to work with that, the lover workshop that we've done, that activates that Venus in you. If you're like, I don't like, what is this? I want it. Like, what is this Venus? What is this lover workshop? Go do the lover workshop. I think it's $47, right? It's like nothing, but it will take you right into that. And I was talking about these, like, you want to do like experiential journeys into these places to really activate that part of self, right? To tap into the sacred energy. It's sacred energy, right? Like Kundalini is a sacred energy, like a lover, a feminine lover. It's a face of the divine feminine, that lover aspect. And to activate that, there is so much magic in that this week. So much. We have Juno on the sun. She's another lover, right? She's loud, like just that feminine love, that alchemy. Love heals, love finds a way. But we are going to have to potentially work to get to that love place. We're going to have to potentially get over our little selves, right? Get over our own hurt little selves and tap into something wiser within ourselves, like wisdom heart, instead of like little heart, wisdom heart, deep feminine wisdom. And if we can all tap into that for ourselves, right? For ourselves, I'm not saying that this is about other people, but for ourselves, it might be for our relationships, might be for our path forward, might be for our own healing, might be for our own masculine, might be for our ancestral line, might be for our father line, our masculine line in our family systems. But just like really, that love is so powerful this week, so powerful, and can be so profound this week. And that Jupiter grace, the expanded mind, thinking bigger and letting the love flow. So if there are two things that we're going to share for this week, thinking bigger, and let the love flow. Just let that love flow. So free, so wild, so big. And then thinking bigger for new trajectory. What is that? Thinking bigger for your path forward, thinking bigger because we just started that new chapter, new beginnings, right? And like thinking bigger, letting the mind really translate your highest path forward from this ground zero point now post-eclipse season, after the shakeup, after the changes, after the unearthing, this point forward. All right. My goodness, I am sending you so much love for your path forward. Maybe I'll see you in the warrior in the lover workshop. There is a warrior workshop. That is another aspect of the feminine. But I really think that the lover is the one for this week. I'm also feeling the mystic a little bit. So that's another face of the feminine. That's another workshop. I'm really feeling the mystic, the feminine mystic being something because it will take us to higher level love. It'll take us past our like little selves where we're having a hard time loving. It will take us into that higher level love so we can get past the ego and really love ourselves, love our lives, love our people. Love will find a way. Love will find a way. All right. With that, huge love to you. And I'll see you where I see you, when I see you, and how I see you.